Good afternoon and welcome back. At least 8 people were killed after a gunman opened fire at a FedEx facility in Indianapolis. This was late on Thursday before also killing himself.
Multiple people taken to the hospital. The extent of their injuries are unknown at this point. Here's Stephanie Gosk with more.
We received a call reference shots fired to that location.
Overnight terror and chaos after a shooter opened fire at a FedEx facility in Indianapolis, killing 8 people late Thursday. Police say the suspected shooter later died by a self-inflicted wound. An eyewitness, FedEx employee Levi Miller, described the scene this morning on Today.
Walk us through what you saw, what you witnessed last night.
I hear 3 shots after that, and I assume someone has an engine problem. This is when I hear 6 shots fired rapidly, and then I hear 10 shots. This is when I stand up, and I'm sitting on a bench, and so when I stand up, I see a man, a hooded figure. I was unable to see his face in detail. However, the man did have an AR in his hand, and he started shouting, and then he started firing at random directions. I thought he saw me, and so I immediately ducked for cover. But what I do know is that it was someone who definitely worked at this building before.
Deputy Police Chief Craig McCart also spoke with Today.
And Chief, well, the way we understand it is the shooting started out in the parking lot and then he went inside. How far into the facility did he get?
It's my understanding that the security measures that they had in place inside, the physical security measures that they had in place, did what they were supposed to do, and he did not get very far inside of that facility.
Authorities say multiple other people with injuries were transported to local hospitals. The facility is the company's second largest hub in the world, employing more than 4,500 people. FedEx releasing a statement overnight reading in part, "We are aware of the tragic shooting at our FedEx ground facility near the Indianapolis airport. Safety is our top priority, and our thoughts are with all those who are affected." This morning, another American workplace shattered by gun violence as police search for answers.
This is a tragedy, but yet through it all, we will come through it.
That was Stephanie Goss reporting. Now moving on, the city of Chicago released the body cam video of the deadly police video showing a 13-year-old boy, Adam Toledo, was killed. This occurred on March 29th of this year. This video contains graphic content and viewers may find it disturbing. Now officers say that they were chasing a suspect, Ed's known as Toledo, and another man after a call of shots fired in that area. An unidentified Chicago officer drives to the scene and quickly exits his vehicle. He then chases Toledo down an alleyway after yelling, "Police, stop." After Toledo stops, the officer yells, "Hey, show me your expletive hands. Drop it, drop it." Just as he appears, the team puts his hands up, and the officer immediately requests an ambulance. And we're saying, too, that the Chicago Police Department has placed all officers involved in this shooting on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation.
The family of a 12-year-old boy killed by a Cleveland police officer asks the Justice Department to reopen the civil rights case into his death. Tamir Rice was playing with a toy gun outside a recreational center in 2014 when somebody called police reporting a guy was pointing a gun at people. Officer Timothy Lohman shot Rice seconds after he and his partner had arrived on scene. The officers say Rice ignored commands to show his hands and was reaching for the gun. Federal prosecutors last year declined to charge the officer, saying video of the shooting is too grainy to show exactly what happened. But Rice's family is reaching out to Attorney General Merrick Garland, asking him to reopen the case. The Justice Department has not responded to a request for comment from the Associated Press. A county grand jury declined to bring criminal charges against the 2 officers in 2015. Lohman was fired in 2017, but his dismissal was not connected to that shooting.
The murder trial of Derek Chauvin is heading into its next chapter. Testimony is now over after the defense rested its case. Chauvin himself announced his decision about whether he'd testify or not. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has the latest. We will have this story for you on our website, KTSM.com, but that was Gabe Gutierrez that would be reporting. Moving on, the Children's Hospital in Kansas City has announced it's participating in a nationwide COVID-19 trial of the Pfizer vaccine. The children who take part in the study will receive a smaller dose of the Pfizer vaccine that's given to adults. Doctors will then see how children react. If everything is okay, then the doctors will increase the dose until they find a vaccine that is safe and produces an adequate immune response. The study is expected to last around 2 years, and the children will receive injections, nasal swabs, and also have their blood drawn.
It does require a special type of parent to sign up the children to do this, because if you, as a parent, are afraid the moment you see the needle and your child starts to cry and you want to back away, this is probably not the right study for you.
Doctors say it's important to highlight this is not a vaccine clinic, but an open call to develop science.
New research suggests people who have already had COVID-19 may only need a single dose of the vaccine. The University of Pennsylvania study looked at 44 patients who received one dose of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine. It showed people with a prior COVID infection had already produced a strong immune response. But those who never had the virus did not achieve full immunity until after their second dose. They also needed the second dose to protect against the South African variant, but recovered COVID patients had enough antibody response after one dose.
Sticking with COVID news, despite substantial progress on the vaccine front, with roughly 200 million shots given so far, much of the country is in grip with another COVID spike, up 11% nationwide just in the past 2 weeks. ABC's Tom Costello has more.
Across the country on this Friday, a spring wave of rising infections. While more than 3 million Americans are being vaccinated every day, hospitals in several states are at or near capacity. Hospitalizations reaching 47,000, the most since March 4th. In Maine, new infections have shot up by 67% just over the past 2 weeks. While in Michigan, frontline health workers are warning the current surge could actually be worse than what they experienced last fall.
And now they are experiencing and seeing younger people who are in our ICU beds who are very, very sick, and some who are dying.
The latest spike comes at a bad time amid a pause in the J&J vaccine rollout, as the FDA and CDC look at a small number of patients who developed rare blood clots. The CDC also reports a very small number of so-called breakthrough cases, people who contracted COVID despite getting vaccinated. So far, 5,800 known cases, most of them women. 40% involved people over the age of 60. 7% had to be hospitalized. 1%, 74 people, died. Ariel Silver got COVID 6 weeks after her second vaccine dose.
Were you surprised? What was your reaction when you got it, despite having had the vaccine?
I was very surprised because I thought being fully vaccinated, I would not get it. For 2 days, I was in bed very sick, just sleeping all day. I had to cancel all my work phone calls. It hit me hard, for sure.
Even though the Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J vaccines offer strong protection, experts say no vaccine is 100% effective. Now, Pfizer's CEO says COVID protection probably doesn't last more than a year. All of us, therefore, will probably need booster shots.
A likely scenario is that there will be likely a need for a third dose somewhere between 6 and 12 months.
Tom Costello reporting. Let's take a live look at traffic right now through our Time-Stop traffic cameras. I-10 in Zaragoza. Not too many cars on the road during this lunch hour. Traffic moving quite smoothly. I-10 and Geronimo's. A little more heavy traffic in that area, but no delays have been reported.
Perfect Friday traffic coming up as Busch gets ready to release a new dog brew for the summer. How you could get your dog involved in the taste testing.
And then in today's Travel Report, we'll tell you which routes to avoid due to road closures.
And we're going to continue to see temperatures drop across the borderline as we head into the weekend. What exactly that means for the rest of us, I'll have more details coming up.
If you have a news story, call our hotline now, 915-533-KTSM. Reach us via social media or email us at news@ktsm.com.